just goes to show that I really need to pay better attention to the patterns that are on the inside of these cakes of yarn. First of all, it's free. Second of all, it's designed for the yarn that it comes with. We have the stripy action, the drape, the flow action, and I know for a fact that if I would not have followed this pattern, I wouldn't have anything to show you, because my initial thought was a cardigan, which I still might actually do, but I mean, obviously that's going to take a little bit longer. This was a one cake type of project. I finished this before I finished my horror movie, so I was wearing it for the last 10-15 minutes of the movie. I love a bite-sized type of project to kind of mix it up with all of my other bigger projects that I have. All right, so the other day I went to Michael's to check out their yarn section and see if they have any of their spring/summertime yarn out. Really what I'm looking for is yarn inspirations, because I mean, that's what they do. The limited time only, limited edition, seasonal type of yarn. Sometimes we see things come back, other times it was just for that season. I can think of quite a few yarn that I'm like, you remember that one in 2022 that came out? It was amazing. I made a blanket with it and now I just have half of a cake. What happened to that? Are we ever gonna see it again? So it's a love-hate situation with me, but I do like to see the seasonal, especially because it makes me think of different type of patterns that I wouldn't normally think of. I mean, I love my cardigans. I would make them every single season. It does not matter at all. So seeing ones that are a little bit smaller, bite size, we get different colorways. We see a lot of stripy type of things in the springtime, I will say. Not that it ever really goes out of style, but I feel like we see a lot more. So the first thing that I found, and I don't have any of the yarn to show you because I have an entire finished project, it's just safe to say that I had a great time working up this yarn. This is the Yarnspiration Caron layer cakes. It is made with 100% mixed fibers, so recycled cotton, medium number 4 weight, 6mm crochet hook. Definitely going to be good for things that have a little bit of structure to them, because I mean, it's a thick type of yarn. I think totes are going to be amazing with this, but definitely need to have a liner with it. It is a total yes for me. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I do have a bunch of scrappy Halloween fabric that I could go through from last year. Need to figure out something with it. Tote bags are perfect. Next up, we have another Yarnspiration, Caron Funfetti cakes. This one, I have a lot of it left. I do actually have a totally finished project, which is another beanie. When I was making this at the beginning of the week, it was really, really cold, and I was going on a run in the morning, and I was like, okay, I want a hat. This needs, like, I just need some more hats. I was going through all of them very quickly. I did a half double crochet in the back loop just to make a nice little ribbing. Little layer right here to kind of pull it all together. Again, nice and easy, and it definitely was a one-day type of project. This was not a pattern that came with it. The one that they have on the back of it, which is it on the inside? It definitely is on the inside. This was actually a knit pattern. So a free pattern of knit mesh boat neck tee. So if you knit, there you go, free pattern right there. And it does have the little stamp that says no wool. So for this, we have 66% acrylic and 34% polyester. Oh yeah, this one, it's cotton, but I'll go back and tell you, it is machine wash and throw it in the dryer, good to go, which is kind of perfect for hats and stuff. I do like, especially my bucket hats and my running hats, I like to be able to throw them in the wash in the dryer, or at least the wash for sure. So just another reason why I like this one a lot. This one, okay, so Funfetti cakes, another limited time only. It's suggesting a 5.5mm crochet hook, a medium number 4 weight. It is machine wash and dryable. I don't know that I would put this in the dryer just because working with it, I guess if I was going to make something more than a beanie, so again, this only took me one night to do. If it got pileated or anything like that, I wouldn't be too sad about it, especially since I made it specifically for my running hat, daily wear and tear type of stuff. But if I spent the entire time making a sweater vest like they had on here, or t-shirt, that's what they call it, knit mesh tee, I don't know that I would put that in the dryer. I think I would lay it flat to dry. So the problem that I had with this yarn is that it really wasn't fun to work with. I like the color, I really love the feel with it, especially now that it's done. It has a lot of texture to it, little pops of, it's not sparkle, but just like little different bits of gray coloring in here. Some of the other ones you could tell a lot better. So the bits that were the Funfetti were a polar opposite color to go with it. So it did actually look like a Funfetti cupcake, which is kind of fun. But I just knew that I wasn't going to use any of those colors, or like I wasn't going to actually wear any of those, and I wanted it specifically for a hat. So that's why I went with this one. The name of this one is called Shadow. Another reason I got it, I was like, ooh, that's a fun name, Shadow. Sure, let's try this one. It was super hard to work with. Or not hard, it was just like, there was moments of irritation that kept rising up where my hook would get snagged on it. You can see there's like little bits right here where it's already kind of pileated. And that's just coming from out of the cake of yarn. And it's this type of yarn, which is kind of like that thick and thin. I don't feel like there's anything wrong with the yarn. Like that's how it was designed to be. I just didn't really enjoy working it up. I did start this one right after the cotton. So kind of keep that in mind. I had a ton of fun with the cotton. Then I got to this one. It was a little bit, I had to be careful with my stitches. But if I was going to make the shirt where that would be very prominent of the stitches, I think I would be going like pulling stitches out quite a bit, which would be irritating to me. So I guess I'm glad that it was a knit pattern and not a crochet pattern, because otherwise I totally would have started that. Since I had such good luck with the bucket hat pattern, I for sure would have started that, and I don't think I would have finished that pattern. But as far as it goes with the hat, I am going to use the rest of this because obviously you can see I didn't really use that much of it. 239 yards, so 8 ounces in total. There's a lot of yarn in here. So I will make that one, but after that, I'm gonna be done with this one. Next, I have a couple that I haven't really gotten into, and I really don't know what I'm gonna do with it. So this is now loops and threads. So the first two, Caron Yarn Inspirations, loops and threads, skinny chenille. This is not yarn that I normally get, because when I see it, I think blankets immediately. That's what I want to do. I love the feel of this. And so I just think cozy blankets, 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. I don't want to do that. Like I'm just not in the mood to make this type of blanket. I need to kind of figure out what I want to do with it yet. The main reason I got it is I just wanted to see, like, the consistency was nice with this one, because loops and threads is kind of a hit or miss for me when it comes to this. And also the chenille sometimes I use for stuffy making, and I thought this color was kind of nice. The name is Gray Stripe. Okay, so that's kind of boring, but is what it is, I guess. On the outside here, it shows like a little baby blanket. I wouldn't make that anyway, but I don't think the patterns on the inside, no, they don't normally put patterns on the inside of these. They kind of just do, here's a picture of suggestions, go for it if you want. I mean, you can find a pattern. They do have scan here for free patterns. This just goes to the free patterns that they have. So it's not specifically for this type of yarn, but this is a yarn type that they've had out before. So I'm sure there's a lot of things on Pinterest that you could find out there. There are spots that are a little bit thinner than others, or like where it's kind of matted down and it's no longer this nice little tube of a yarn with all the little fluffy bits here. You can kind of see there it's kind of got squished down. After scanning it, it takes me right to the loops and threads section, and it says find your next pattern. So we have a lot of different variety of patterns here. A lot of the free patterns that come with like the Caron cakes, or on the side, sometimes they have those little packets of here's a free pattern, get this, and then the yarn is right next to it, which I also love those too. The other option that I have for this one is I could just throw it on my Addi knitting machine and make a bunch of hats from it. It's 100% polyester. Machine wash cold. Don't throw it in the dryer. This stuff is nice and fluffy and you want to keep it as fluffy as long as possible. Next up, we have another loops and threads, and this is a heathered bamboo blend. As soon as I saw this, I knew just from feeling it initially that I wanted to make a cardigan with it. Bamboo, it's just such an enjoyable sensory for me, working it up and then also wearing it. So this is my cardigan that I've started. It's just gonna go with everything, especially for the springtime. I can just layer this up, and I can wear this all the way into the fall too, even early winter. Like the only reason I don't wear it through winter is because then it's just not heavy enough for me. Summertime, springtime, outside in the evening when it's a little bit cooler, a little chilly, throw this on over top. I'm obviously very excited for this one to get done. It's a blend of acrylic and bamboo. You have 47% bamboo, 53% acrylic. You can throw it in the wash, but lay it flat. We are not gonna throw this in the dryer. dryer at all. Now that I have all these other ones done, this is going to be my project that I work up in the morning with my coffee. So my plan is to work on it like 30 minutes to an hour every single day. That way, hopefully, I can have it done by the time it's a little bit nicer, so I can actually have my coffee outside in the morning. Just a nice transition from having my coffee, working this up, to having my coffee, wearing it, and then working up another project. So yeah, this one I very much enjoy. The only thing with this is it's not going to be for everyone. It's a type of yarn that is very loosely spun. Just from holding it here, I can pull every single strand apart very easily. So even with me being careful, there are some stitches that I've had to go back and just like completely redo because my hook has gotten caught between it and it just pulled them apart, making a huge mess, or the stitch was just completely ruined. Sometimes my hook would split it, it'll go in the middle here, or there'll be just like a couple strands on the top. I mean, obviously wearing a cardigan, I don't want that happening on there. So I just have to go back and then smooth this out, which to me is okay because I like the feel of this yarn. I like the color combination. I like everything else but that. So for me, it's totally fine and I'll work around it. You just need to know that going into it, it's going to be more of a slow, mindful type of project, which is why I chose specifically to do it in the morning when I have my coffee. I'm feeling good with my first cup of coffee, going a little bit slower because I just got up in the morning. It's kind of like the prime time for me to work on this project. This next one doesn't automatically scream springtime, but for me it makes sense because I'm not really ever thinking about making stuffies in the winter. Sweaters, cardigans, blankets, mittens, that's what my mind is on. So I hardly ever make stuffies or like home decor, plushies, pillows, things like that. But as soon as it starts to get a little bit nicer, I'm like, you know what? A new little fluffy decor, that sounds fun. Let's make some of that. So this is the Loops and Threads limited time Fluffy Flecks is what they're calling it. It's a bulky number 5, suggesting a 6mm crochet hook. And again, they have this code on here. It's going to go to the same thing. So it's going to go to the Loops and Thread page. It's not going to be specific for this with the pattern. This one is called Gray and it's 100% polyester. We're hand washing this, not throwing it in the dryer or the washer. Started to make with this is a little ghost pillow, or maybe not a ghost pillow, maybe it'll be a little bit smaller, so like a little plushie, just something I can hang on to. If I go that route, I think I'm gonna have to get another one of these. As I got to the part where I'm starting to like make the body of the ghost, I'm thinking it's gonna be too small. 7 ounces is what we have, 126 yards. And so far, I've been enjoying it. There hasn't been any major spots that I've noticed where it's been squished down. I mean, it is the one where we have that strand wrapped around it, so there is going to be thick and thin parts. It hasn't been super noticeable so far. Again, with the Funfetti type of idea here, I'm either going to do 2 buttons or a little bit of embroidery. If I'm going to go the pillow route, make it a little bit bigger. I should probably do the embroidery on it though, because I mean, nobody likes big giant buttons on a pillow. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Okay, embroidery eyes, that's the way we're gonna go. They didn't have a black, otherwise I totally would have got that instead. Gray was as dark as they had, but a lot of bright poppy colors. I mean, obviously this is their spring lineup. So they had the greens, the pinks, the purples. The purple actually was kind of cool. This last one is again something that I haven't even started yet, but I just wanted to grab 2 because they're my favorite colors and they didn't have a ton. So it was not even an end cap. It was one of those like cardboard cutouts that they have, and it's called Cuddle Craft Tube. So it's the tubular yarn. I really, really love this stuff for things like totes, baskets, anything that needs a little bit of extra structure. This stuff works really, really well. It's 75% cotton, 25% nylon, so it does have a little bit of stretch. A medium number 4 suggesting a 4.5mm crochet hook. Whatever I work it up into, I'll probably go down a little bit, maybe go to a 4mm just to have those stitches a little bit tighter and have that much more structure with it. So this one is called Ladybug Love Starless Night. Okay, I like the names. Coffee coasters was the first thing that I was thinking about making and maybe doing a little crochet graph with it. I have a lot of felted coasters that I've made, which they've seen better days. I mean, they get a lot of use out of them. So I could totally have a couple of new ones here. Whatever picture I decide to go with, we're going to be able to see it really well. It's not going to bleed into the other one with like some of the fluff kind of hanging over it. It's a tubular yarn. It's in its own place. It's doing its own thing. We can throw these ones in the washer, but it does say not to put it in the dryer. I don't know. There's a lot of cotton in this, so I might just end up throwing it in the dryer anyways, seeing how that goes, and I'll keep you up to date on it. All right, goals. So out of everything that we saw today, for the springtime specifically, I'm most excited about the tubular yarn and then also the Caron Cupcake yarn. I'm thinking about different patterns that I want to make, and then this one, obviously it came in my favorite colorways, and the fact that I have a lot of different things for my kitchen that I'm wanting to do, this is going to come in handy. But let me know what you are most excited about, what you plan on making for the springtime. That is it. So have a super spooky rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.